Good morning. There was a show on TV I used to love when I was a child. It was for children, young people, probably adults as well. It was by, I can't think of the name of it, it was by Professor Julius Sumner Miller, a physicist who was a great teacher. And one of his favourite phrases was, "Why is this so?" And he would show a demonstration and ask, "Why is this so?" And then explain the physics behind it, what was happening. That question, why, he engaged the curiosity of the children and probably the adults that were watching as well. That question, why. Children seem to be born with the question why on their tongues. Why? But why? But why? Whenever you explain something, but why? And you need to go deeper, the curiosity. But there's also a sense of opposition in that too. But why? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to wear those clothes? Why do I have to go there? Why do I have to eat this food? Why? And that questioning why doesn't leave us as adults. We watch the news, we hear stories of people we know, we ask why. Why did that happen? Why did that house burn down in the bushfire and that house not next to it? Why did this town get saved and that town burn down? Why? Why did this person get that illness and that one not? Or why? Why are people like Vladimir Putin so horrible, so violent, so abusive, so murderous? Why does he want to take over Ukraine? Why? Often the questioning of why is not just a curiosity question, but a judgmental question. It's when we ask the question why, there's a judgment behind it. Why is that person like they are? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? They're a bad person. Why did that happen to them? They're bad. They deserve it. Some years ago, a group of us, a team of us, were asked to help with a group of young teenage boys, who were getting into all sorts of trouble at school and disrupting classes and were angry and carrying on, and not just disruptive but rude and aggressive and abusive and disengaged completely, ruining it for the teachers, the students, the classes are in. So the principal tried something different, quite creative, and brought them together in one little cohort and invited those staff and others from outside who were willing to spend some time with them to have a go, to try something, to re-engage this group of young people. Many of the other staff thought it was a waste of time, I think, because they were so bad. These boys were so bad. I think many of the adults in their lives, their trajectory was obvious. They were bad people. They were going, by the end of the late teens, early 20s, they'd be imprisoned or dead or in gangs or something. There was only one way they were going. But others thought, no, let's get in and try something. They're still only young. And I guess we saw glimpses of the vulnerability within them. And so we worked with them and gave them one more chance, and it wasn't easy. There were little breakthroughs when we overreacted and apologised and said, look, hey, sorry, we shouldn't have said that. There was a little breakthrough of trust because not many adults in their life made mistakes or claimed to have made mistakes and apologised. There's one kid in particular I remember, we were trying to get him to do something creative, and he started talking about his football team back home. He came from overseas, and his family came out to Australia. He's smaller, he looked different, he sounded different language. His English was fine, but it sounded different and different words, and he was picked on. His favourite sport was football, but not NRL or AFL, it was soccer, which wasn't popular out here. He was shorter, he looked different, he sounded different, and people picked on him. He didn't belong, he didn't fit in, and he hated it. He left his friends and everything behind. Anyway, we talked about his football team because he was doing this thing, and he started talking about his football team back home, the team he supported, and the team he supported in the English Premier League, Liverpool. And suddenly there was something in him, and I liked football, and we talked, and he explained things and how he liked playing and what position he played. He was a striker, and what he did. And over a few weeks or months with a few of us, he began to open up a little bit, and particularly with the psychologist that was working with us from the church. His family had extended family out here, and the extended family were glowing about how great Australian life was and how good it would be for them all. They should come out, there'd be work for his father, and they could get him a job. He had a job lined up. So finally his parents gave in, they came out. They packed up their life in overseas and in home country and came out here. But it wasn't what was promised. There was no job, the work wasn't easy to get, life wasn't as easy as they'd made out, and everyone struggled. And his father, I guess, felt the guilt and the stress of all this and had some level of depression and illness. And this guy, this young bloke, it felt like the whole weight of his world was their world was on his shoulders. And he had no friends, nothing, and it was horrible. And he didn't fit in. Anyway, we continued to work with him, and he got connected with a youth worker from one of the churches closer to where he lived, several suburbs away. And this youth worker drew him into the youth group of the local church. And there were kids there who embraced him and welcomed him, who also played soccer. And they were in a soccer team, and he joined it. And he was a really good player, and he did really well. And he joined the youth group, and he found his way. He found a group of people to belong to. He found a youth worker who believed in him and encouraged him. He found a soccer team to play in. And he moved schools at the end of the year to the school where those kids went. And he changed, and last I heard he was doing well. Some of the other kids also took advantage of moving their home, their families moved. Some of them came from broken families and were all over the place. Some had learning difficulties. And some of these interventions just gave them that new edge, that new chance, that second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, 20th chance. And something happened and clicked for some of them. I'm not sure about all of them. I thought of that and was reminded of that story, that experience, when I read Luke's story of Jesus this week. When people come to him and ask, those Galileans that Pilate killed and mixed their blood with their sacrifices, why? Why was that? And behind it was a judgmental question. Of course, the reason was they were greater sinners than all the other Galileans who were in Jerusalem for the festival that day, that week. And Jesus says, well, really? Is that the case? Well, what about the 18 who were killed when the Tower of Siloam fell and killed them? Were they worse sinners than everyone else? No, of course not. In their culture, in their time, it was generally considered that bad things happened to bad people and good things happened to good people, and God blessed the good and cursed the bad, if you like. And some of that's still prevalent in our age, Those who are bad people, bad things happen to them. If something bad happened, well, you deserved it. They deserved that. And Jesus says that's wrong. And even if they are bad people or do bad things, maybe there's something in them that still can be redeemed. Maybe they need another chance or another chance or another chance. And he tells a parable. This vineyard owner planted a fig tree. And he came and looked at it every year for 3 years, and it bore no fruit. There's no fruit on it. So he said to the gardener, chop it down, it's useless. 3 years I've had it, no fruit. Chop it down. And the gardener says, look, can we give it one more chance? This year I'll dig around it, I'll put manure in, I'll water, I'll care for it, I'll tend it. Give it another year, and if it's no good, then no fruit, then you can chop it down. For Jesus, there's always another chance, another opportunity. That yes, we fail, we do things wrong, we get it wrong, we mess up, but there's grace. We can start again. And he invites us to ask that why question with understanding and curiosity. Why is this person acting like this? What is in their background, in their story? What's happening? What's happening in their life that causes them to act and respond like this? Fearfully or angrily or to be cut off or isolated. What is happening in a person's life? What is their story? What love and grace do they need? what healing do they need in their life? What is the healing that God has to offer them? And how might we be the ones who bring that healing and life to another person? So maybe when we look around and see people and we're not sure what they're like and we ask the question why, to ask it from a point of view of understanding and thinking about, well, what is it we can do to help them, to bring love and hope into their lives, just like God brings hope and love to us.